Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, Jamie Alone. In this episode, we don't have any regulars because, well, it's actually very early in the morning and we don't think they would still be awake. Anyway, as for our guest, she's from Bonn, Germany, and she is a serial entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Danny Laker.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Anytime. So, how's life?
Well, this is a good question. And it's always a great conversation starter, right? So, how is life? Life is like a roller coaster. Like you can imagine, in my case, as a mom, serial entrepreneur, I'm pretty much all over the place. And so, when you ask me how is life this morning, I had to drop my son at school with his bike because he's going to have today his bike examination. So the kids are shown how to ride a bike, and then they have to do a little test so that they're able to ride their bikes as well here in Bonn in the city traffic. So it started pretty exciting already.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. And have you been up to much recently?
Where have I been? There is a problem with the microphone, I think.
Oh, okay. I said, have you been up to much recently?
Yes, so I'm working on several projects, and as a serial entrepreneur, as the term suggests, I have several projects or enterprises I'm working for and I'm engaging in, and so predominantly, what my startup projects are about is blockchain, crypto, data literacy, and always with a twist kind of to fashion and customer experience, because this is basically my passion. Yeah, ever since I started working as an entrepreneur.
Okay, that's cool. And what encouraged or inspired you to become a serial entrepreneur?
Well, my daughter, I was a single mom pretty early, and so I had to find a way to, yeah, basically get enough money to pay the bills, to get food on the table, and I was still young and not finished with my education. So I took her as well to university, and so I couldn't afford, or it was not possible to engage a nanny and in order to get a normal student job, like a day-to-day job. And so I started basically looking for alternatives. And my first side hustle, besides educating or education, attending education and parenting my daughter, was starting an eBay online business, similar to what Nasty Girl did in the US, but I did it here in Europe. And Europe back then was not at this stage that there was so many customers and that it was such a booming business. So I started it pretty much from scratch, buying vintage clothing and selling vintage clothing online via an eBay store. And so this was basically, I'd say, the beginning of understanding as well how yeah, all these economic processes work. And this kind of as well spoiled me to go back into a normal regular paid job, because I understood that there is so much potential when you have the possibility to do many things in parallel, like going to university, raising your kid, and at the same time making a living. And yeah, nevertheless, I continued with my university, and during my university time, I stopped doing this fashion, vintage buying and selling business, and went into another field, which is coaching and consulting. And this predominantly came, yeah, about like an accident, because I needed again to find something that enables me to still get along with my study work and raise my kid at the same time. And so what I did was pretty much a no-brainer, because I was raised bilingual. I had the advantage studying in Germany to provide English classes for all kinds of people. So it was young students, was business people that planned to have a career abroad or to expand with their businesses abroad to the US or UK or Australia. And so what I did was basically providing them English classes, and out of that, well, this was my first assignment into consulting, because I was not teaching them how to structure sentences, but we were talking about all kinds of processes, troubles with their employees, problems they had to tackle. And so this was during my master's degree that I started with my first consulting business, Zeitgeist Consulting.
Hmm, nice. And if you were to start another business, what kind of business would that be?
Well, I'm no longer entertaining this Zeitgeist Consulting. So this was before I joined Accenture. So I was a consultant in a real big consultancy for 4 years, because I wanted to learn from the big consultancies. And so after these 4 years with Accenture, I gained another part of my, let's say, the building block for my expertise as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, and as a human being, because I was responsible with Accenture for emerging tech strategies. And so what I did was basically building the bridge between CEOs of the clients, or C-level of the clients, and the tech world. So and this, in this particular new technology field, like artificial intelligence, blockchain, crypto, virtual reality, so all the fancy stuff, if you will. And this basically took me to my next part in my journey, which is starting in this tech field, my own businesses. And so as you were asking me if I would start a new business, at the moment, no. My mission is to really do something with the businesses and the ideas that are already there, and that I'm involved in. For some, I have a team who is collaborating with me. On others, this is an idea that is basically built over years now with Fashion Exec. So there I am working to find the right people to collaborate with me on that. And so there are several let's say, building blocks that make the life of a serial entrepreneur exciting enough to not consider starting something new. So really, like, getting your head around what could I start new, but it's more like people come to me, approach me, ask me for advice, and then in most cases it's like that I engage with them as a senior advisor, and then they at a later point in time might pull me in to provide me with an internal role in this new venture, or I join the team fully as co-founder and go in as well with an investment then in the project.
All right then. And throughout your entire journey, what have been the highs and the lows?
Well, roller coaster. So you have a lot of very, very high exciting experiences where you think, oh my God, is this really my life? Am I experiencing saying this dream come true? And there are other days or other parts where you think, is this really my life? Is this where I'm going to head towards for the next years? What can I do about it to get out of this mess, so to speak? Yeah. And so the highest point really was the birth. This sounds really corny, but the birth of my two kids. So to have these wonderful kids as my one and only love, so to speak, this is something that as well drove me to do the things that I did, because I started as an entrepreneur because I wanted to make a living for my kids. I could have gone back home and say, hey, mom, hey, dad, can I get some money? But I was not in the position that I wanted to do it, because I didn't want to take on the blame, because they, that's like, we told you so lesson that your parents often give you then when you not follow their recommendation in the first place, which I didn't do. And so I was pretty much on my own right from the start, and responsible for my daughter, who is now 18. My son is 10. And this was one of the highest highs in my journey. So and career wise as well, interestingly, because it's all an interplay. Because when you are a single mom, you can either say, okay, I'm a single mom and I have to fight harder than the others. I have to do more than the others. I don't have the support like anybody else, with a partner and with an intact relationship. Or you can say, no, I use this really as a driver, an additional driver to be faster. And this is what I did. I was faster than any other student who started studying with me in the bachelor's and master's degree. I finished it really like in a very rapid time. And at the same time was going through struggle with the kids' parents and all these kind of stuff. So this was the lows, so to speak. So there were always kind of roadblocks that were thrown at me. And then at the same time, overcoming these roadblocks, this was one of the most amazing experiences as well along the journey. Like, for instance, when I was a student, this is something I can now tell because I yeah, kind of as well as an encouragement for the people out there who are listening in here and who perhaps are in similar situations and don't know which road to take. As a student, I had debt with the energy provider, and so they canceled my energy supply. So I was in the dark for a day with my daughter as a student, and I didn't know how to get the money together to pay the bill. And luckily, that there was always a way. You know, life never leaves you alone. We had to spend one day, and this was only one day, luckily, with candles in the evening, and we tried to make the best out of it. Now I can say it really with a smile on my face, because I learned two things. I learned that there is always a way to get through this, and that in retrospect, it was the right way to go, like it was, because after that, you know, I'm super careful now when it comes to paying those kind of bills, as well as a student, and super careful on that as well, when it comes to this fixed costs, when it comes to my businesses, etc. Because you had this kind of traumatic effect on the one hand, but at the same time you made it through. So like made it through the storm. And yeah, this is something that my kids as well see when they are with you going through this stuff. And especially my daughter, she is pretty advanced for her age and pretty independent. And so now I can really say it was all worth the mess and the trouble.
Okay, I can see that. What was the last thing you've bought off Amazon?
Oh, that's interesting. Probably toys during Christmas. Because, you know, the last minute shopping spree in the cities, this is not so much fun. And at the end of the day, you basically end up on Amazon or on any other online marketplace, and then you buy it last minute, get it wrapped already, delivered the 24th to your doorstep.
That's kind of neat. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
That's a good question. 20 years. So 20 years, there is a lot going on as well here in this world. So we are now in a very interesting time. So many things are changing. So many new challenges are ahead that we don't have solutions for. And to an extent that nobody had imagined only 2 years ago or 3 years ago, before the pandemic. So with the pandemic, so many things changed, and changed as well the perception of what the time span or what is possible in the time span of 10 or 5, 10 or 20 years. And so where I see myself personally, is that I phrase it as the mindful billionaire. What I mean by that is really like I am somebody who is contributing with what she has to offer. And this is why I left corporate, by the way. So my last corporate job after being in consulting, then a freelance entrepreneur with startups, and then back to corporate with a publishing company. And now since December the last year, I'm again working on my own and with my different businesses. So focusing really on that and focusing on contributing with what I have to offer. And what I mean by that is I have a variety of experiences. One of those example I just shared that I think is truly beneficial for young entrepreneurs, single moms, but as well single dads or single parents as such. And this said, this is an increasing amount of single parents are out there who are always kind of as well torn between, do I or can I really focus on what I want to do, or do I really have to sacrifice my own wishes to provide for my kids? And they often forget about themselves. And so this is one of my focus topics that I'm concentrating on currently, to empower those people who are in a situation where they are responsible for their kids and at the same time have to be the single bread giver in their family, and have really the struggle of balancing a good life with all the responsibility that comes along with it. And this said, what I want to do in 20, or what I want to stand for in 20 years is really this person who empowers and enables those parents, and that there is no longer this discussion about, oh, you're a single parent and you have to do double this stuff, and it's so bad that you are in this situation, and we feel so sorry for you and all that. So that it's just that you can design your life according to your superpowers, according to what you came here to do and what you want to do, no matter if you have kids, if you have other obligations, if you have a special talent that doesn't fit in any corporate environment. And this said, in 20 years' time, there is a long road ahead of us when it comes as well to how we understand careers and how we understand as well the potential of making a living, not just as an entrepreneur, but as an employee in a new set. This is what I'm looking at when I think about what's happening in 20 years. And I want to be really part of that and contribute with my unusual CV, because this is something that I experience so often. What do you do? What is it that you do? That I have to start explaining half an hour what I'm working on, and where my focus is. Well, my focus is on engaging with my superpower to contribute, to make lives better, to create workplaces, and thereby provide my share to the world.
Fabulous. If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use it for?
Oh, wow. This is this is a cool question. I mean, it was spontaneous and everything, but this is a cool question. So, what would I do there? Actually, one aspect when you think about all this parenting and kids, or parent single parent kids work balance thing, one very important aspect is as well the education of the kids. And since the education of the kids matters and is not anymore state of the art, especially when you look in the non-private school. So when you look at the public school system, you have very traditional, old-fashioned curriculums. And this is not made for our kids anymore. I see it in my kids. I see it in kids of friends. I see it in so many fields, as well in young employees that I recruited. It's different. It's a different time. People are wired differently. Kids are wired differently. And so therefore, I would really start building a school that is providing an alternative way to have an experiential learning, which really engages the kids, and it's not so much focused on performance, but really on identifying the superpowers. So a bit like the X-Men, like this compound where there are these special kids, but not for special kids, but that it's um, a pilot for something that is available to everyone who needs it. Because I truly believe that all the therapists, all the kids with psychological illnesses that you see, that the people, that the kids that are suffering because they are non-fits into the system, that it all matters because they are different from what we were as kids. They have a different understanding of the world, and this comes along with the advancement in technology. Just as simple as that. When I remember a situation when my son was 1.5 years old, and I was reading out a book to him. He was trying to kind of zoom in on the teddy bear in the book, because he was expecting, like on the iPhone or the iPad, that on the book it was as well possible to zoom something in, and he was touching with his little hands and trying to zoom in on this teddy bear and wanted to make it bigger, and he asked, "Mommy, bigger, bigger," in his broken words. But this shows that our kids are entirely different. And so a new school system, this is something that I would really focus on to provide for the kids that are the misfits, but in my opinion, the ones who are the inventors of the future.
Okay, that's cool. If magic was real, what spell would you try to learn first?
Magic is real. Our whole life is magic. This is a good question, because I'm totally in, and my kids as well, into this Harry Potter, a wizard and magician style and supernatural gifts and so on and so forth. Spell that I would probably want to learn is, I was first thinking about getting into the head of the people to understand better what the other person is thinking about, but at a certain extent, like, this was something that would eventually cause more problems, because if you could really force somebody to always say the truth, it could potentially lead to some difficulties, even though we all dream of a world like that. So it's a difficult question. What spell I would like to learn. Mm, it's really difficult, because I don't want to see or look into the future either. So this clairvoyance can be as well an obstacle when because this is something that so many meditation teachers as well convey, to live in the moment. And the older I get, it sounds odd, but the more I understand what they mean with it. Because when I was a kid, of course, I wanted to know what's in the future. But when I now think about it, if I had known 20 years from now, or back 20 years back, what would happen 20 years from there, and where I would be today, I don't know if some of the decisions had been entirely different and had caused another another consequence in my life, which potentially would have not included my kids, which would potentially had not let me here to Bonn, and things like that. So um, I think it's good that we have the magic around us. As I said, magic exists, and magic is something that comes when you don't expect it. But it's not like you cast a spell on something, or you learn a spell.
Okay, I can see that. What is the best way to start the morning?
I start my morning pretty early at 4:30 or 4:45. Um, Depends on when I get to bed, but and I do this for a reason, because this is the moment, this is my me time in the morning. And I started doing this a year ago, and ever since I practice it. So in the morning, I first do some breath work and some meditation. Um, I sit down and write my ideas and my thoughts down in my journal. So I do a little journaling. This helps me to really get my head clear before everybody else wakes up. And then I do some exercise. And what I took from Gala Darling, she introduced the magical morning practice, and I do this for almost a year now, recording 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of what you're grateful for, like in a voice note on your iPhone. I mean, you take your phone anyhow into your hands right after getting out of bed, right? So why not doing something meaningful with it? And so recording a voice note, what you're grateful for, then in retrospect, looking at the day ahead of you. So like by that, I can structure my day. I can structure important meetings or important events that are ahead. And what I do in the morning then is already being thankful that this meeting went well, that my son had fun at school, and all these kind of things. And then as a third part of this voice note, uh, the future. So I leap into the future and imagine myself being there 1 year, 2 years, sometimes 5 years in the future, and imagining one situation. And I do it really intense, really feeling into this moment where I potentially sit in my new house at the pool, um, have a nice summer event or something like that. Yeah, drive in a convertible at a sunny day, or just as simple as celebrating my daughter's graduation. So, and then I close this voice note, and then I do some exercise, and really really fast, only 5 to 10 minutes, and then I wake up the rest of the house. I start with my daughter, then my son, and then I get everybody out of the house and start working mostly from home or traveling.
Fabulous. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Danny, talking about your work as a serial entrepreneur, your various obstacles you've been through, and your superpowers, and everything else. It's been fabulous.
Thank you. Thanks for having me
Any
again, and it was really a great interview and great questions.
anytime. And until next time, stay tuned for more.